Recently, we have found a baby Majungasaurus in Madagascar of all places, so there's a little bit of good news to start the episode on. But going back to the United States, we meet up in Louisiana, where a very interesting dinosaur lives. It's a Spinosaur, to no one's surprise, but one of the most peculiar looking ones we've ever came across. The odd but intriguing Icthyovenator. But first we have to find it in this incredibly lush swamp. If we set up a camera long enough, it'll probably come to us, and after throwing in a little bit of chum smell, it seems to have done the job. A set of not so pearly whites quickly become interested in us. But these jaws have contributed a lot, especially to paleontology. Many people for years have debated on whether or not Spinosaurs are aquatic or how aquatic they are, and the Icthyovenator kind of proved a point about all that. The Icthyovenator is somewhat of an opportunist. It'll eat pretty much anything that gets in its way whenever it feels hungry. It's been seen eating fish, alligators, snakes, and even livestock. So anything that gets close to the water or already lives in it is pretty much on the Icthyovenator's menu. Many paleontologists also apply this opportunist mindset to all Spinosaurs, although I personally disagree. And other paleontologists seem to agree with me, thinking that Spinosaurs are much more diverse than applying one mindset to all of them. But moving away from that, you've probably noticed the very odd spine on the Icthyovenator. Many people for a long time thought this was a misfiguration, but instead this is actually a part of the creature. We believe that this is also another form of sexual dimorphism, much like the Chasmosaurus we talked about not too long ago. And similar to the Chasmosaurus, the Icthyo is very, very green. So green, in fact, that it actually prefers these tropical, swampy environments so it can camouflage better. We tracked this one for a total of 2 weeks though, and it didn't seem to really go after anything. This might mean they can go a long period of time without actually going for food, but it did guard its territory with much persistence. Anytime we tried to get a drone in there, usually it would chase it away after a few seconds. But this territory does come with a few issues, a few maintenance problems if you will. Traveling these swamps can bring up a lot of muck. This Icthyovenator is covered in it. Now this can work as very good camouflage, but it can also slow the creature down. But every day they do a continuous cleaning session so that the next day they won't have all the muck on them. But this little cleaning session is usually towards the end of the day, as it does use the moss to cover up itself. Although it prefers deeper water, sometimes the Icthyovenator will come into the shallows to see if anything is hiding under the shadows of trees. We caught this one checking up during the evening, but it obviously wasn't a very big fan of us being there. They will stiffen up and hiss whenever they feel threatened. Another thing we found out about a lot of Spinosaurs is how vocal they are, and the Icthyovenator is a perfect example. 3 of them in this swamp alone seem to communicate by very long distance calls. These seem to be a mixture of hisses, roars, and anything in between. Since we've noticed this, we've also noticed that Icthyovenator is not the only Spinosaur to call out like this. Many others like the Siamosaurus, the Suchomimus, and the Baryonyx do similar things. But the study all started with the Icthyovenator. We really did hope to see it in action taking down something though, because something a lot of paleontologists are curious about is the large curvature it has in its jaw. You've probably noticed the small nook by now where its 2 front teeth sit, and this is not something that Ingen added. This is completely unique to the creature, and we don't know why it has this. There is no real reason that it should possess this trait. A lot of scientists have studied the jaws, and it seems that this does not benefit them at all in hunting. Maybe it's something to do with mating, but since we only have a few male specimens, we will really never know. The final thing to touch on when it comes to this Spinosaur is its massively oversized hands. They would look more fitting on a bear than they would a dinosaur. The environment around them suggests that they lived with a lot of other large dinosaurs like iguanodontids and sauropods, so maybe it used these large claws to hunt them down. It may have possibly been an ambush predator and hunted from the shores and shallows, waiting underneath the waves for a creature to get too close to the water, where it would then grab them with these large hands and drag them back down. But unfortunately, there is no dinosaurs that live in Louisiana alongside the Icthyovenator. It is the only one at this point in time. However, recent news has arose that the Icthyovenator will be moved into the Colorado Dinosaur Preserve, so maybe we will see something after all one day. But that's it for this episode of Ingen Dinosaur Profile. I hope you all enjoyed, and next time we're going to be looking at another Ceratopsian. However, as always, remember, if something chases you, run.